We're going to take a look tonight at the Birchas Kohanim, which are in Parshas Naso, and the section of the Torah there begins in this way: Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, Daber al Aharon v'elbanav lemor. Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, Kosavorchu es b'nei Yisrael amor lahem. So shall you speak to the Jewish people and say to them, so shall you bless the Jewish people and say to them, Yivarechecha Hashem yishmerecha, may Hashem bless you and watch over you. Yoreh Hashem panav elecha v'chuneka, may Hashem shine his face upon you and show you favor, chen. Yisah Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, and may Hashem lift his face up upon you, or toward you, and give you shalom. So I'd like to approach it through a couple of different meforshim, but starting with the Rambam from the Mishnah Torah. Now the Rambam says as follows, and I'll read it out for you. Ketzad Birchas Kohanim b'mikdash. How did Birchas Kohanim work in the Beis HaMikdash? HaKohanim olim l'duchen, they would go up to a platform. Achar sheyashlimu HaKohanim avodas tamid shel shachar, following the tamid shel shachar, the morning korban tamid. Umagbin dideim lamala, they would lift their hands upwards. Agabe rasheyan, above their heads. Vetzboseyan peshutos, with their fingers outstretched. Chutz mi kohen gadol shein magbi yadav. Except for the Kohen Gadol, who does not lift his hands up high over his head, because he's not allowed to lift his hand higher than the tzitz, which was on his forehead. That said Kodesh LaHashem, nothing can be above that, so his hands have to be a little lower. Can't be higher than the tzitz. Then somebody says for the Kohanim, word by word, each one word at a time, Kederech sha'osim b'gavulin, like we do outside of the Beis HaMikdash, where, for example, the Chazan says one word at a time, Yivarechecha, and the Kohanim say Yivarechecha, then back and forth until the end, Ad sheyashlimu shlosha psukim, until they finish all three psukim. Now, interesting here, he says in the Beis HaMikdash, ve'ein ha'am onim achar kol pasuk. In the Beis HaMikdash, the people who were there did not respond after each and every pasuk. The way we do in Shul, we say amen after each pasuk. They didn't in the Beis HaMikdash. Ela osin osa b'mikdash bracha achas. In the Beis HaMikdash, it was just one long bracha. So the whole thing was said consecutively. Then when they would complete it, the Kohanim would complete the whole bracha, then we wouldn't answer Amen, but we would answer Baruch Hashem Elokim, Elokei Yisrael, Min ha'olam v'yad ha'olam, because it's in the Beis HaMikdash, a greater revelation of the Shekhinah. So we respond that way. So those are two differences. The bracha straight through in the Beis HaMikdash, and the way we responded was also different as well. That's the first halach in the Rambam. Then he says, V'omeres Hashem ki chesavo. When the Kohanim gave the bracha there, they actually enunciated the Shem Hashem. V'hu Hashem hanegeh miyud kei vav kei. And that is the pronounced name of the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Zehu, and the Rambam says, that is Hashem HaMefurish. That's what's known as the explicit name of Hashem, Ha'amur B'chol Makom, which we refer to often. So there, the Kohanim actually said the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei explicitly in the bracha. Will be Medina, but outside of the Beis HaMikdash. Omri Mosa B'kinuyav. We don't say the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Rather, we say the Shem Aleph Daled Nun Yud. the Shem Adnis, which is of course what we do. Shein mazkirinas Hashem ki chesavo el b'mikdash bilvad. Because he only mentioned the name, the explicit Shem HaMefurish of Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash. So those are some of the differences between how it was in the Beis HaMikdash and how it is outside of the Beis HaMikdash. And that's the Rambam, and those are halachic statements from the Rambam. Now, the Ramban, in his Perush al Torah, he says as following, that when Hashem says to Moshe to tell Aaron to deliver the bracha to Bnei Yisrael, the Kohanim. So the Ramban says, I have already mentioned in Parshas Shemini, Kitziva es Aaron, because there Hashem commanded Aaron to lift up his hands to the people and to give them a bracha. Now that's interesting because what the Rambam says over here, not the Ramban, but the Rambam that we saw, that they said the Birchas Kohanim right after the Tamid Shel Shachar. But the Ramban is saying, well, hold on a second. There was a Birchas Kohanim which preceded all of that, and that was the Birchas Kohanim that took place in the Mishkan on the 8th day when it was dedicated by Yom HaShmini. Hashem told Moshe to tell Aaron to give a bracha to the Jewish people. That was really the first Birchas Kohanim. And the Ramban says he refers to it over there. But over here in Parshas Naso, this is talking about the bracha that's meant for perpetuity, the ongoing Birchas Kohanim that's given in every generation. So the question is, what was that first Birchas Kohanim in the Mishkan? It wasn't in the place where it normally is in davening after the Tamid Shel Shachar. So what was it doing there? And the Ramban says, Kisham Siva Hashem es habracha chayim ad ha'olam. He quotes a pasuk from Tehillim. From there, Hashem commands his bracha to go forth with life to the whole world. So in other words, when the Shekhinah came down in the Mishkan for the first time, that was the time to seize the moment, because the bracha is coming down, Min Hashamayim Gilei Shekhinah. Grab that moment and give a bracha to the people. The Mikdash, B'Shem HaMefurish, will be Medina, B'Kinuyav, and he also says, same thing as the Rambam, in the Mikdash it was with the Shem HaMefurish, outside it was with the Shem Aleph Daled Nun Yud. In the Mikdash it was one bracha, outside it is three brachas. So very fascinating Ramban, and he brings to light the very first Birchas Kohanim, which was done, was not in the context of Shacharis, Tamid Shel Shachar, but it was in the context of a Gilui Hashchina, a revelation of Hashem's presence that's coming down. So Hashem says to Moshe to tell Aaron, take that revelation of the Shekhinah and give a bracha to the people. Okay, that's the Ramban. We're going to move on to Rashi, and Rashi says over here, and the word Amor, say to them. This is how you shall bless the Jewish people, and say to them. Rashi says, Amor Mole. The word Amor is written with a Vav, Aleph Mem Vav Resh, Mole. So why is it Mole? And Rashi says, Lo tevorchem b'chipazon u'bebeholus. Don't give them a bracha quickly and in a hurried fashion, ella b'kavana u'belev sholem, but with intention and with a complete heart. So the word amor is written whole, mole, to reflect the fact that the bracha should be given whole and mole by the Kohanim. So we're getting the idea here as we're building this up. This is a very full bracha. It has to do with the revelation of Hashem's presence. And Hashem wants Aaron to deliver that bracha to the Jewish people as something not hasty, but take your time and give it over in a way which is complete and full. Now, just let's think about us for a moment. When does this happen for us in Chutz La'aretz? In Musaf, on Yom Tov. So it's already a little bit late. People have been in shul for a couple hours. We're getting toward the end of Musaf. And what do we have? Three times, right? So why not just move through it a little bit? It's getting late. So Rashi says no, take your time. This bracha is meant to be given b'kavana b'lev shalom. So we're going to stay there another 5 minutes and hear the beautiful nigunim and the beautiful bracha which are given, because that's how the bracha is meant to be given. Not quickly, but with a full heart. Take your time. Okay, that's Rashi. Now, in addition, I wanted to share Balaturim here. You may have heard some people, when the Birchas Kohanim is not with the Kohanim up there like it is on Yom Tov, but with the regular repetition of the Shemona Esrei, where the Chazan says, Elokeinu Elokeinu B'chin B'bracham Shaleshes B'Torah, and then he mentions the bracha which the Kohanim give. He says, Yivarecha Hashem Yishmerecha, and you might hear some people say, Ken Yehi Ratzon. That's what most people say. You might also hear people say, Ken Yehi Ratzon B'Zechus Avraham Avinu. And then the second bracha, and you'll hear sometimes Ken Yehi Ratzon B'Zechus Yitzchak Avinu. Then you'll hear the third bracha, Yisai Hashem Haravelecha, and you'll hear B'Zechus Ken Yehi Ratzon B'Zechus Yaakov Avinu. So where is that coming from? You have some people who have that minhag. So the Balaturim says, in Pasuk Chaf Dalet, he says as follows: Yivarechacha, may Hashem bless you, B'Zechus Abraham, in the merit of Abraham Avinu. How so? Deceive, because it says there, V'Hashem beirach es Abraham ba'kol. Hashem blessed Abraham with everything. So the word Yivarechacha corresponds to Hashem beirach es Abraham. The second one, Yo'er Hashem, may Hashem shine His light upon you. So the Balaturim says, Keneged Yitzchak Avinu. This corresponds to Yitzchak. How so? Shara'a be'akeda umes. Because he looked upward, heavenward, at the time of the Akedah when he was offered, and he died. V'he'ir HaKadosh Baruch Hu es einav, but Hashem illuminated his eyes, v'hechayahu, and he brought him back to life. So somehow the coming back to life of Yitzchak Avinu is related to illuminated eyes, Yo'er. And therefore we say, B'Zechus Yitzchak Avinu. The Balaturim also says here, I'll say it as an aside, Shehoya Olas Re'iyah. Yitzchak was an Olas Re'iyah. This is fascinating to me. We know Yitzchak is a Korban Olah. He's an Olah Tamima. That's always how it's said. But the word here, Yo'er, the Balaturim says, if you look at the same letters going the other direction, it's Resh Aleph Yud, Re'i. What's an Olas Re'iyah? An Olas Re'iyah is the Korban Olah that Bnei Yisrael brought to the Beis HaMikdash every time there was a Yom Tov. For the Shalosh Regalim, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, were obligated to appear at the Beis HaMikdash and bring a special korban of Yom Tov, a celebratory korban. What's it called? Olas Re'iyah. The Balaturim says Yitzchak Avinu was an Olas Re'iyah. That's something to think about. It's a celebratory korban. You don't think of the Akedah in that way. It's much more austere, terrifying. He was an Olas Re'iyah, says the Balaturim. I'm just putting that out as food for thought. Then, the last one, Yisrael Hashem, Keneged Yaakov. That corresponds to Yaakov Avinu, as it says, Vayisa Yaakov Raglav. Yaakov lifted up his feet, he picked up his feet, and he traveled. And it also says with Yaakov, Vishavti Bishalom, and I will dwell Bishalom. What's the last word of the bracha? Shalom. Shalom. So the first one, Yivarechecha Avraham, Hashem Beirach es Avram Akol. The second one, Yair, Yitzchak, who got illuminated eyes. The third one, Yisa Hashem, Keneged Yaakov, Vayisa Hashem, Vayisa Yaakov Raglav, and Shalom, Vishavti Bishalom. Now I'm going to close with a very beautiful Kli Yakor. There is a halacha, and we mentioned it in the Rambam, that when the Kohanim get up there, they don't just say the bracha by heart, by themselves. They wait to hear it word for word from the Chazan, and they repeat that word. Now, the halacha is like that because we don't want the Kohanim to lose their place. You're up there in front of people, you could get a little nervous, and you might forget the bracha. So the Shliach Tzibur says it word for them, and that way they know their place, and they can say one word at a time. They're not going to forget. That's the halachic part of it. The Kli Yakor says an additional component on this. And he says as follows. B'ta'amo shel davar, shehachazan hu hasir sur. The Chazan, the Shliach Tzibur, he is the middleman between heaven and the Kohanim. Hamoshech shafat sinor mimakar habrachos techila. The Chazan brings down the pipeline of the bracha from on high. L'moriko sama rosh Kohanim yacholu. And he brings them down and empties them down onto the heads of the Kohanim. So when he says Yivarechecha, he's actually reaching up into Shamayim, grabbing onto the bracha, and pouring it down onto the Kohen. Kihu omer techila el haKohen Yivarechecha Hashem. He says to the Kohen first, Yivarechecha, and then Hashem, Kidei la'asos es haKohen techila kli gadush, umolei Birchas Hashem. So that the Kohen will become himself filled with Hashem's bracha. And that's what the Shliach Tzibur does when he says the words word by word. V'achar kach k'sheh Kohanim omer liYisrael yivarechecha Hashem. Then when the Kohanim say those words to the Jewish people, hu morik min kli malei al kli rekan. He then gives the bracha that he has and delivers it to the empty vessels, which are the Jewish people, ready to receive their bracha. Avo, im lo haya kohen nisparech techila, hayamorik miklei rekan el klei rekan. If the Kohen would not have received the bracha first, he'd be pouring from an empty vessel into another empty vessel. So he has to become filled with the bracha, which he does by virtue of the Shliach Tzibur saying, Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. He brings it down onto the Kohen. He's now a Kli Malei, and the Kohen then brings it down to the Jewish people. Isn't that amazing? Now, we always think of this in the halachic terms that the Shliach Tzibur is simply helping the Kohen keep his place, which on the literal level he is, but there's a deeper level as well. He brings down the bracha to the Kohen to the people, and then that whole process is fulfilled. Now, my thought on that is that when you get a bracha, you have to share it. It's going through all of these ma'amorim. The Kohanim in the Mishkan, when Hashem revealed his presence, a big bracha, so Hashem says, share it with the people. Give them Birchas Kohanim. Rashi says, Amor Lohem, a big full bracha, B'leiv Mole. The Kli Yakor says, you get a bracha from Shamayim, from the Shliach Tzibur, share it to the people. It's a great lesson for us. Whenever we receive a bracha, share it with others. Okay, wishing everybody a very beautiful Shabbos. I'll just unmute for a minute and say Erev Tov. Great to have you aboard. Yasher Kaya.
Thank you. Good evening.
Have a good Shabbos. All the best, everybody. Yasher Kaya.
Rabbi Goldberger, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
Okay. With Yitzchak Avinu, the Ola Re'iyah, is that from the word sight or from the word awe? Like yira or sight? Because really, he epitomizes really both things in the sense that he was actually blinded at the Akedah when the Malachim's tears went in his eyes. And he's also known as the Av that is, Yira. Hashem, Abraham is Chesed, and Yitzchak is
Yira.
So.
Yes, for sure. So it's a very nice question, Elka, and those two words are related to each other. Those are related words. So the Baal Turim is saying it from the word Ya'er, which means to shine his light upon you. And then backwards it's Re'i, which is to see. But Re'i or Yira and Re'iyah are related words. Our Sforim HaKadoshim tell us. And it's very possible that the idea is that when you see that kind of revelation, you become filled with Yira.
Yes.
It's also possible the other way around, that as a result of Yira, a person is zocha to see the revelation of Hashem's presence.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Elka.
Thank you.
Everybody, have a good Shabbos.
Rabbi, I have a question about Birchas Kohanim that was you said tonight.